This is Drew from Critical Eye, joined with our hosts,
Chris.
And Kevin.
All right, and now we'll be discussing another movie that came out within the last week. This one is a little bit more recent than Lightyear, which we just recently reviewed. Mm-hmm. This one is Where the Crawdads Sing.
Yes.
Quick synopsis of this movie. As an abandoned girl, Kaya raised herself in a dangerous marshland of North Carolina. For years, rumors of the Marsh Girl haunted Barkley Cove, isolating the sharp and resilient Kaya from her community. Drawn to two young men from town, she opens herself to a new, startling world. However, when one of them is found dead, Kaya immediately becomes the main suspect. As the case unfolds, the verdict to what happened becomes increasingly unclear, threatening to reveal many secrets. And this film is directed by Olivia Newman. I did try to do a little research on her. She didn't really have much of a film background. The only thing, she directed the film in 2018 called First Match. It's a Netflix film. I think I haven't seen it. Not sure if you
I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Not me either.
No. But most recognizably, though, this movie is based on the book by Delia Owens, which was released back in 2018. And I mean, I'm not much of a book reader, but from what I've researched and read, I guess it was a huge deal in the book community when that book came out.
I think Reese Witherspoon added it to her, like, I don't know if it's a book club. She added it to something that she does, and it was like huge.
Reese Witherspoon has like her own book club type.
She got
thing.
Hello Sunshine.
Oh, that's what it's called, Hello Sunshine.
She named this book like one of her favorite books of all time on it.
Yeah, it was a big deal because I mean it's Reese Witherspoon. So
yeah, it was a pretty big deal. I think Reese Witherspoon may have like been taken apart in producing this movie.
She did.
I believe she produced it.
She produced it. It was through her company, Hello Sunshine.
Yeah. And, you know, Reese Witherspoon's great. I like Reese
And
Witherspoon.
Taylor Swift made an original song for the movie.
Yeah, so it definitely had a lot of backing behind it, the movie, because the book was so popular, so they kind of figured, like, you know, we'll have a big fan base already when the movie comes out, so we can, you know, throw a lot of things at it. We can expect, like, a good return. But yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty much the background of the movie. I mean, there's some controversy surrounding this one. I don't know if we want to get into that now or later, but...
I mean, if you want to briefly touch on it, I guess.
Yeah, okay. So the author is accused of being involved with murder.
Yeah, and was it... Is it in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, so there was an accusation of some sort of murder she may or may not have been involved with or done in Zimbabwe. Also rumors about how it may have been racially motivated because... I guess some people have problems with the way the book was written, the way it depicted the characters in the movie, especially like African Americans. Mm-hmm. So people kind of thought that she was racist. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I mean, I didn't really catch that in the movie. I never actually read the book.
Yeah, I said the movie. I don't think they would have shown that. But the book. I mean, I never read the book. I don't want to make any judgments on anything.
Yeah, I never read
without
the book.
actually, getting context. But
there were only those like two African American characters, right?
Yeah, there were some. Yeah,
yeah,
great.
That's about it. There wasn't really anybody else that was like
unless the book had more people.
And I thought they were treated how like African Americans were treated in that time period too.
Exactly. Like the guy, like the inspector going boy.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Because the movie and the book, at least the movie, I haven't read the book, so I don't know if it does the same way. But it takes place. It starts in like the 40s or 50s.
I think it's the 40s.
I thought it starts in the 50s.
Like early 50s or from their late mid. But then it goes all the way up until when?
Like 69.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because she's around like 20 in that. 20 or 30.
I kind of got confused by the timeline in this because another timeline confusion thing. But like, she was, you had like the young actress, the girl. Then you had like a second actress, like the mid-teenager.
Yeah.
And then like you had the main girl play her for like several years without actually changing. So when she came into like the flashbacks, I couldn't tell how many years it was passing. But apparently it was years between. The first encounter and the murder, or accused murder.
Yeah, well, I think it was, so she's on trial, and they think it's her because they found, like, a hat in her house that had, like, a strand of hair that belonged to the guy, and also because she's the Marsh girl, and they're all, like, they all
it wasn't a strand of hair it was a strand of hair that was on the guy that's at the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to look something up.
It
said she was when she's the little girl in the beginning. When she sees her mother leave, she's about 6 years old.
That makes sense.
And then
I would assume that she's like around her early 20s when she's like accused of murder, because when she's talking to, or at least in the first encounter with like Tate and Chase, because around that age is where they're heading off to college.
Yeah.
So if they're around the same age as her,
She's in her
they're probably
20s.
like 21, 22, maybe like 23, 4.
Because I think
So by the time
the
of the
actress
murder,
herself is.
Yeah, but he was. It was weird because it was the same actors and actresses, but like when he met her, they were still in high school, and then at the trial, they looked the exact same. So I don't know how many years have passed.
well, it's probably like
The actress herself is our age. She's 24.
Because that
Yeah.
guy, he was an engineer. I mean, who knows how many years he had to go to engineering school, and then he comes back. Then he gets a job down there, then comes back home. It's like I was a little confused about how long. I mean,
it's probably like she probably beginning of her 20s was when she first met them, and then like the end of her 20s was like then.
Well, she met
we don't really
the first guy when she was 17 or 18 because he was still in high because they were both in high school, or they were both high school age.
Yeah, and then they're probably like mid 20s.
Yeah, I was
So
thinking
they
maybe
probably
they spanned
didn't
10
change
years
much.
or so. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's a follow the movie. That's just something that kind of confused me a little bit trying to follow.
Yeah. But I was confused at like how they hired this girl who's supposed to play this girl who like lives out in the marshlands. But she doesn't look like she lives out in the marshlands. Like her hair is all perfect. Her teeth are all perfect. She like brushes her teeth every day. She has like, makeup on. She's just a beautiful girl. She lives in the marsh.
She could take care of herself.
I know, but if you're like growing up in the marsh, you'd think she'd be like.
Well, you said
her
she
hair's
was like
messy
she would always
or,
go like barefoot everywhere in the marsh too.
Yeah, but you would think like she'd be at least a little bit like dirty or like her hair's messy.
Well, that's the message of the story. That just because you have this
Remember because
connotation,
they remember all the townspeople had this image of her in their head because she was a marsh girl and they thought that she was dirty but then she was just a normal person.
I guess
Kevin,
but no, I get
you're
what
just
you're
as
saying.
bad as them. I'm just kidding.
What,
I get
Chris.
I get what you're saying though.
Yeah.
It's typical like young adult film adaptation to make the girl who's supposed to be an outcast look perfectly fine.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense because the people in the movie, when they hear the marsh girl, they expect her to live off the land, like in the marsh.
But she was going to the store and buying things.
Yeah, she's going to the store and buying things. She had a house in the marsh.
Yeah.
So they probably had a worse connotation than what she was actually living. Like, yeah, she was living on her own and raising herself.
That was a
But
pretty
it's
nice
not like
house, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like
It's
she was
nice.
living like in a tent in the middle of the marsh. She had like a whole house.
But she knew about the land. She
Exactly.
was a really good artist, so she made the books and.
Yeah, and she knew how to cook. She knew how to clean. She knew how to like do everything.
I really like that actress too. Her name's Daisy Edgar-Jones.
Yeah.
She was in a show. I saw some of it. I never finished it, but a Hulu show called Normal People, which was also based off a book. And then she was in that movie with Sebastian Stan called Fresh.
Yeah.
I like the movie.
That was a good movie. And then
I gotta watch it.
And then she was in she's in that show with Andrew Garfield, Under the Banner of Heaven. I haven't seen, but I want to see it.
Me too. Yeah.
But that's what she's most known from these four things.
Yeah.
She's an up and coming actress still, so I really like her. I think she's really good.
Yeah, she's a good actress. Definitely making her start now. This is probably her big big break.
Well, Normal People was her first big.
Yeah, that's her.
Because that's
And
where
then
everyone
Fresh
first noticed
was
her.
another,
Yeah.
good one. So it's just her making her career, but she is good.
I do like her.
And the two guys were really good too.
I liked all the acting in this movie. I thought the acting was probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah, it was really good.
I know Anna was she kept saying that the lawyer was from Grace and Frankie, but he wasn't. He was from some other. She was confusing him with someone. I can't remember his name, but I know who she was confusing him with.
What's funny is I'm pretty sure I saw him in The Sopranos today.
That's that lawyer. Yeah, he was in The Sopranos.
He was in The Sopranos. He was the principal at AJ's school.
Yeah.
But I was like, I know that guy. Except he's so much younger in The Sopranos that I was like, I feel like he's an old guy in what I remember him from.
But yeah, well, I can't remember. I'll tell you later once I look it up. But I remember Anna was like, "Oh, that's the guy, one of the husbands from Grace and Frankie." I looked it up later. It's not, but I know who she was confusing him with. I just can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, she. There's a lot of times in movies where she's like, "Oh, I know that guy. He's this guy," and I'm like, "No, he's not. He's this guy." And then I have to look it up so that we can prove it.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, but she's getting better at it now. She's we watched. She didn't watch too many movies before we met, but I've kind of got her into watching every movie. So like now she's getting better with it. She's getting to know people's faces more. But in this movie, I thought like you said, all the acting was good. I don't think there was a bad performance.
I really like the guy that runs the husband and wife that own the shop. I like them a lot.
Yeah, they're really good.
They were super sweet.
Very sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost cried when the like in the last little like montage of her growing up when the guy died. I was like,
oh, they went to the funeral. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. Remember? I think it was like this part in the movie where, because remember she has the boyfriend and then he goes off to college. He goes, I'll be back on the 4th of July. And he never showed up. And she didn't see him for a long time. And then remember he shows up at her house and she starts throwing rocks at him. And I'm sitting next to Anna. I'm going, I was like, I wasn't crying. I was sniffling because I was like, whatever doing. And Anna looks up and goes, are you crying? And I was like, no. Good. Kevin, you thought I was crying too.
Yeah, because you turned to me. She was like, I think Chris is crying.
I wasn't. No, I was going, because I had like something in my nose. I was trying to like.
I looked over. I was like, Chris, you good? And you were like, yeah. And I was like, he's definitely crying.
I wasn't crying.
But yeah, the story I thought the story was alright. I think could have been a little bit better. So, like basically, there's this whole trial going on. Every time they throw something at her, her lawyer is really good.
I liked her. I liked him.
Yeah, he's always like on top of his game, and he's always like, basically, he's like a retired lawyer, though, right? Like he retired. Yeah, because came out of retirement.
At the beginning, he's like, "Oh, I don't get involved with this anymore. I'm retired." And the next thing you know, he's like defending
exactly. Her. So I'm pretty sure he was retired until he figured out something was going on with her, and he was like, "All right, let's do this." Coming out of retirement for one last case, and that's when he started defending the Marsh girl. But it was like during this trial, everything they threw at them, they were like, "Nope, that's not it," and he was just defending everything perfectly. Which was weird, but like also.
Yeah, like what a weak prosecution case.
Exactly.
Well, they were just looking for someone to blame, and they're like, perfect, an outcast. We can blame her. Everyone will go for it.
And they didn't.
And they didn't. But that's like a lot of the times that's what would happen. Like in that time, they would, if there was a murder, they would just look for someone to blame if they didn't have sufficient evidence.
The swamp girl.
That's what they would always go for the swamp. No, but if they didn't have sufficient evidence, they would just look for someone to blame instead of actually doing the investigation, right?
Yeah, and if they got away with doing that a whole bunch of times, like, and they couldn't do it this time, like, how weak was their argument if they couldn't do it this time?
Exactly.
I know they had, and Bob Dylan has a song about this. It's called Hurricane, and it's about Reuben Carter, who was a heavyweight boxer. And it was at a time in his life where he could have been like the champion, but there was a murder, and Reuben Carter's black, and these two criminals, these two like career criminals, they blamed him. We saw him, or they described him and whatever, and so he got arrested for it. The jury on his case was all white, and the two criminals that actually did it and accused him, they testified against him. And everyone went along with it. And so he went into jail for something he never did. Right when he could have been the champion. So it was one of those things, they were just looking for someone to blame. And it was also a race thing. It was racially motivated.
Yeah, everybody wants a scapegoat.
There was a really good movie about it. I think it's the same, I think it's called Hurricane.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Did he make the song for the movie?
It might have done it for the movie. He might have done it just in general, but then they used it for the movie because the song was so big. But he went and he visited Reuben Carter in jail, Bob Dylan, and he's one of the reasons that Reuben Carter was actually let out of jail. Like he really helped lead that, like moving forward to get him out of jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a pretty powerful story.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that.
It's a good song. You just look at it's called Hurricane. Bob Dylan.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that, but that definitely makes sense about this movie because
it's just looking for someone to blame.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was partially looking for somebody to blame, but they also knew the history that Chase had with the Marsh girl, so they probably thought oh, love gone wrong. She got mad and killed him.
I hated him so much. He was such an ass.
He was, dude. He reminded me. I looked at Anna and I was like, dude, he reminds me so much of Nate from Euphoria. Mm-hmm. Like his character was copy and paste Nate from before.
I need to watch it. You guys have mentioned that show in multiple podcasts.
I had to, there are times I had to stop watching it because it's like really intense. I'm like,
It's
I
very
can't.
intense, but it's
I tried to watch like an episode or two a night, and I got to where I was like, I can't right now. It's just like too much for me.
yeah. Anna and I did that, and we finished the entire first season in like a week.
I had to like take it. I was like, oh,
Nah, we just watched it straight through.
it's really good
My
though.
ain't raised no bitch.
Listen, just because I have feelings,
Yeah, you rammed the Terminator. But
it only means I'm human.
yeah, but yeah, you should definitely watch Euphoria. It's really good, and you'll see the comparisons between Nate and this guy. Like Nate in the movie is like this jock type character who takes what he wants, does what he wants, like doesn't give a fuck about anything. He's manipulates everybody that he comes in contact with, including like girls and friends. He's just this asshole in the movie or in the show, and he's like the main antagonist of the entire show. Like everybody hates this guy. There are some people who love him, like some of his friends, but even they're like.
They're like, all right, man,
Just
that's
scared
enough.
of him.
That's enough. Like,
Yeah.
or they're like really they're not gonna speak up like to him.
Yeah, like his friends are scared of him. His girlfriend has like Stockholm because he always abuses her. He's just an asshole. His dad is actually played by. He's in Grey's Anatomy. I don't know his dad, but I forget.
Good
what else he's from.
McDreamy.
Huh? No, what the fuck?
What's his name? They're doctor with the curly hair.
I don't watch Grace.
I don't watch.
I don't think. My mom used to watch it all the time.
Sure.
Patrick something. It was Patrick something. He's been in movies too.
My mom used to watch.
You can
it.
ask her next time you come over.
You just called him McDreamy, Chris.
That's what people called him in the show. That's the only reason I know that.
That sounds like you watched it, Chris.
I mean,
I'm
look
not
up in-
judging you or anything.
No,
like that.
let me
You
look
watched
up in-
it,
You've seen
watched
enough
it.
to know McDreamy.
Yeah.
No, because my mom always used to talk about him to her friend.
Okay.
That's the only reason.
But he plays one of the doctors in Grey's Anatomy. He's older now. I remember him from something else, and I forgot what it was. I'll have to look him up. But this guy Chase in Where the Crawdads Sing even looks almost exactly like him. Like the actors look almost exactly like.
I forgot to look up the actor, but was he the
Who's this guy?
No, not him.
Patrick Dempsey, I think
No,
his
not
name
him. It's a different guy.
But you know him. Do you know Patrick Dempsey?
Yeah, he plays what's his name in Grey's? Like Shepherd or something.
Derek Shepard is what it says.
Yeah.
This guy, Drew. Do you know him?
no clue.
I know him from a few other things, but I don't remember what they are. What were you saying about the actor?
Sorry.
Was he Harry from Amazing Spider-Man 2, Harry Osborn?
Oh no, that's
that's
Dane
the kid from-
DeHaan.
Named DeHaan.
Yeah, the kid from.
I really like him though. I like Dane DeHaan.
Beyond the Pines.
Oh yeah.
Twins Beyond the Pines, something like that. He also was in Chronicle. He's the main guy in Chronicle. No, it was a different guy.
Oh,
Okay.
Patrick's Swayze was in or Dempsey, not Swayze. Patrick Dempsey was in Enchanted, that movie with Amy Adams.
Oh. Okay.
So that's what I know him from. I was like, that's what it is. Sorry, I was really bothering me until I figured it out.
And
Okay.
Amy Adams is a woman, and this movie stars a woman, so we get back on
Yeah,
track.
back on track. Yeah, this movie starring a woman.
Is it?
Daisy Edgar-Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. Also, the dude that played Tate, I thought did really good.
Yeah, he was good too.
Yeah, I thought I was rooting for him the entire time, and I got so mad when she was like turning him down the entire time. I was like, he's good. He's a good guy. I know he like hurt you, but he's a good guy.
He means well. He taught you to
means
read.
well. Exactly.
I mean, he kind of just left her. Like she said, he didn't even write him.
They never explained why he did. Like he just didn't bother.
I don't think we need an explanation.
Well, he didn't be like, he wasn't ever like, sorry, I did it because he was just like, oops, but I'm
Yeah.
here now. That's all that matters.
Eric Dane is the guy's name.
Eric Dane.
Who plays his father. He was in Euphoria. He was in Grey's Anatomy, Marley and Me.
What does he look
He was
like?
in X-Men: The Last Stand. That's what he was.
What does
in.
he look like?
You guys keep talking about the movie. I'll find it.
Okay, so, yeah, I guess for this movie, it felt like it was trying to be multiple movies at the same time, which kind of threw me off story wise. Because at first I'm like, oh, we're going through this girl's life, And the next thing, oh no, sorry. At first, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like a crime drama, because a courtroom drama because
Yeah.
they're in the court. They kind of talk about evidence. They're like, going back to different things that would allude to that evidence. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a court drama. But then, like the flashback scenes were just so long, and then I'm like, oh, is this just like a coming of age story?
I kept
And
hearing
then-
people say there was like a thriller element to it, and I was like, I don't see that.
I didn't see anything.
I didn't, but I kept hearing people say that, and then I watched, and I was like, I don't see any of that.
No, there was nothing thrilling.
Yeah.
This is what he looks like, but I didn't find out what else I know him from besides X-Men, but he played some character that I don't know. This is what he looks like.
Eric Dane.
Okay.
Yeah. I remembered him from somewhere. But yeah, back to the movie. So,
Yeah, it's just worth saying how I don't know how you felt, but it felt like there's trying to be multiple movies. In the beginning, it was like a courtroom drama. I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a courtroom drama. And then they do the flashbacks. I was like, oh, I was thinking the flashbacks were gonna coincide with the courtroom drama, but then the flashbacks were just so long. Like each flashback was like 20, 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, it's just more just like a romance movie, coming of age story. Like, I had a hard time figuring out what this movie was trying to be.
yeah, it felt weird because it felt like you said, the courtroom drama, and then the flashbacks started off sort of explaining what happened in the last part of the courtroom scene, but then they veered off completely into something else.
Yeah.
And I was really confused but then it started going into like their relationships, how they knew each other, and you sort of started to get this sort of feeling of maybe she did kill him. Like he's an asshole. He treated her this way. Maybe it's true.
Maybe.
But you also were like, with her relationship with Tate, you were like, she's not really capable of doing something like that. She's this sweet little innocent girl. Everybody thinks she's this crazy marsh girl, but she's just actually this sweet little girl. And then, you meet Chase, and you're like, well, it's not possible, right? Like she's not possibly a killer, but it turns out, maybe she is.
Well, he did some really bad things to her too.
He did. Like he sexually,
Assaulted
her and sexually harassed her a while. Even after they broke up, he told her.
He kept showing up to her house.
Kept showing up to her house.
He destroyed her house.
A loose cannon destroyed her house. Worst part about it is he was in a relationship with her for months, I think.
And then he went and got married.
Well, no, she found out that he was married.
Yeah,
or at least engaged.
Engaged.
Which means he would have had to be with that girl the entire time.
And he goes, "Oh yeah, hey Kyle, this is my fiance."
Well, that's another thing where I wasn't really quite sure how long the time was going, because, like, he could have been with the girl, and then while he's with her, he gets engaged to this other woman. He might not have been engaged the whole time.
That's fair, but either way, like, playing the two of them was a pretty shitty move, especially if you're getting engaged with like the girl who's normal and not the Marsh girl.
I couldn't tell because when he introduced her to the fiance, she seems like she was the only one that called her by her real name, and everyone else was just like gave this weird look.
What do you mean?
Remember when she saw, what was the mean guy's name? It was Tate or Chase.
Tate's the angel.
Yeah.
So Chase, remember when she comes across Chase again, and he's with all of his friends, and then his fiance.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh hey, this is my fiance," or he introduces her to everyone, all his friends, everything.
Yeah.
And nobody ever actually says hi to her. They just kind of look at her, and then he goes, "And this is my fiance," blah blah, and she goes, "It's nice to meet you, Kaya." Like she was the only one that called her by her actual name.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if she's trying to be nice or not.
Maybe Chase has mentioned her.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows. Everybody knows the Marsh girl and her actual name. They just.
But I was just like, she's the only one that would ever because people didn't use her real name if they, well,
Yeah.
She was just Marsh girl, but she's the only one that was like, "Nice to meet you, Kaya."
Maybe because
was she trying to be nice? Did she feel kind of bad for her?
Either that, or maybe it's because, if I'm not mistaken, that scene happened right after she got her book deal, right? So maybe they were trying to give her a little bit more respect because they were like, "Oh, well, she's a published author."
Was that after the book deal? I was trying.
I think it may have been after, at least she got the, because I think she was buying something at the store that she was trying to celebrate with him. And I don't remember what it was. I don't know if it was actually the book deal or not, but I remember her being getting something at the store and asking him if he wanted to come over to celebrate for something. I don't remember, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, I remember, yeah, because she saw him. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" She goes, "Oh, I was gonna do this. I was wondering if you," and he goes, "I can't."
Yeah, maybe it's because she saw that Chase was called her by her real name, and then she was like, "Oh, maybe I should just do that because he seems to respect her," or something like that.
I don't know.
I don't know, but either way, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And Tate is the sweetheart.
But I mean, that kind of goes back to like why she was choosing Chase over Tate, because I mean, as good as Tate was, like we were saying, he just sort of left her and didn't give an explanation. He left her like everyone else in her family.
Yeah, that was so upsetting.
Chase is the only one who never left. Chase was a jerk.
Yeah.
But what she wanted was someone who wouldn't abandon her. And despite all the things Chase did, he never abandoned her. And it was only until he pushed things too far is when she started to realize, like, this isn't worth it.
Yeah, it's when he was, like, when she didn't want him around and he kept
coming
back,
up.
where she was like, all right, maybe you can leave. Like, maybe you can abandon me. I don't really want you anymore. But with Tate, it was more like she wanted to spend the rest of her life with him, but he,
He betrayed her.
He betrayed her because of... He explained it later on, but I didn't really understand it. He said
his explanation was pretty much you're a marsh girl.
He's like, you're not going to leave the marsh, and, like, we need to go start a life somewhere, and I know you...
Yeah, he wanted to do other things.
Yeah.
But then he learned to accept it.
Yeah, and then he's like, but I realize the rest of the world's not worth it without you, and stuff like that, so decided that he's going to stick to...
Light just shut off.
It's the plant life.
Okay, I was like, whoa.
I was like, did those just shut off? I don't remember those being on.
Completely change our lighting in this video, but...
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I forgot to turn the other light on.
I didn't know if it was the actual lights or if it was that light, but...
I still never turned the fan off.
It's okay.
That's fine.
Our viewers are going to know something happened by us all just looking at the camera. Like, what the hell was that?
I was like, because I said, real quick, can we talk about it? And the lights went off. I go, maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
Don't talk about it, Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
I was going to talk about Brute now.
What were you going to talk about?
Talk about Bruno.
No.
No.
No, so, you remember, like, it was, like, doing the flashback when she was younger, and it was just her and her dad, and she's, like, her dad was, like, really good to her for a while.
I wouldn't say really good.
Not really good, he was better. Because she even in the narration said she was good to her for a while.
He was getting there.
He was getting there.
He wasn't, like, great, but he was also not, like, just ignoring her the entire time. He was taking her to the store, he was doing this and that, but he was also, like, still pushing his morals onto her, which is, like, nobody's good. Everybody's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Stay away.
And then they got the letter from the mom. I don't remember what she said the letter said, because the brother said, her brother came and visited her later.
She was getting ready to lawyer up and wanted the kids back.
Because she said something...
And she didn't know all the kids had left, too.
Yeah.
Because she was first to leave.
Well, she said something like it was almost like she was threatening the father.
Yeah, she was gonna lawyer
she
up.
Said, or else I'll do something.
Or else I'll lawyer up.
Yeah.
Also, she was saying, give me the kids, or else I'm gonna.
Yeah, she wanted to come,
and that's why he burned it.
Yeah, she wanted to come see them, and then she said, like, if you don't let me come see them or give me them, I'm gonna.
They said she didn't talk for a year,
and then she finally did, but then I guess after that, she just gave up again.
Well, no, she tried, but then I guess she didn't respond from anything, or she didn't get a response from anybody. And then she died of, like, that's when she got sick, maybe.
I mean, it's kind of a hard situation for her because she doesn't, she can't really go back to that place to try to take the kids. Well, now that I think about it, I wonder, those people who were looking for her in the beginning of the movie, I wonder if, like, they were trying to find her so they could take her back to her mother.
The people that were looking for her?
Yeah, I remember, like, there were people, like, she was hiding from people who were looking for her, like, at her house.
Well, I think it was probably just, like, social services trying to find her to, like, bring her back to her family that doesn't live in the house anymore.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, like she didn't know that, like, she didn't know they were going to bring her back to her mom. She thought they were going to bring her to, like, a crazy house.
Yeah, to, like, a foster home.
But, like, maybe that whole thing was that they were going there trying to find the kids.
That's a good point.
And I didn't think about that until now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They probably were looking for, like, her mom. Like, they were searching, hired by her mom to search for the kids.
Yeah.
But that makes a lot of sense.
Like private investigator kind of.
Yeah, except for the one guy who's trying to buy the property, but the others.
Yeah, the other guy was trying to, like.
Is that the guy that called the shop owner or, like, boy? Because remember he was, like, asking about the property.
Oh, I don't know. But I know there was one guy who he was talking about was taking pictures. Yeah, that she was hiding.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to buy the property. That's when she found out that she needs to just pay taxes and she'd be able to keep the house. And that's why when she got the book deal, I thought she was going to lose the house. And then when she got the book deal she paid for, I was like,
Yeah, that was a nice happy ending for her.
yeah, it was a nice little like change of tone in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, and then her and Tate got to grow old together.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like a tense sort of tone at the beginning because it's like, oh, you're framed for murder.
But now you're also going to lose your house, possibly.
Yeah, and then she met Tate, and it was like up, and then it was like her and Tate broke up, and she met Chase, and then her and Chase broke up, and then she got
they never actually broke up, her and Tate. He just never showed back up.
Yeah,
that sounds like breaking up.
That sounds like a breakup to me. And then she met Chase, who seemed like all right, and then she got her book deal, and it was just kind of like a lot of ups and downs.
But then at the end, it all went up, and then she went down in the boat. Meaning she died. No, I don't mean like it wasn't. She fell down in the boat.
We're kind of jumping ship here.
Yeah. We still have other parts of the movie to talk about.
You got that.
Yes.
Well, I said jumping shipping and talking about boats.
Oh, yeah.
Because I said she went down in the boat, and then I realized that might have sounded like I was saying she did something in the boat, but I meant she died.
What could she have done in the boat?
Yeah, besides die.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, so where are we,
Chris? So we're at the part where she got her book deal. What?
I was seeing how long it is. It's also over 30 minutes.
It's fine. I'll just be
it'll be at this
I was
point.
just looking at the time.
Oh, but yeah, she got her book deal.
Mm-hmm.
She was really happy about it. I was super happy for her. She got like $5,000, which back then was probably like a good 10 to 20,000.
I'm thinking more.
I thought she got more, yeah.
Well,
because a teacher's salary in the 60s was like $5,000.
Oh, that's fair. So yeah, it's probably more toward like the 50 or 60,000 range, like today. Because I know she was buying stuff for like 50 cents at the store.
I mean, decades of back taxes only being $800.
Yes, and she redid her entire house.
Yeah,
she did a bunch of other crazy shit. She still had money to go to this new city to meet with her publishers.
Did she write? Because I know that she also had made other books. I don't remember if any of the other books came out while she was still young, or if they were when she was older.
No, they all happened after
when she was married or whatever.
Well, they happened after the trial.
The first one was before the trial.
Yeah. That was the only one.
That was the only one before the trial.
Okay, and then I couldn't remember if that was the only one before or not.
Yeah. The publisher even went to her trial.
Well, I was reading about the book, and and there's a poet in the book that inspires her and Tate. I forget the poet's name was, but at the end of the movie, after she dies, you have the Tate looking through her stuff in the movie. Well, in the book, he finds a journal, and then he finds out that she was actually the poet the whole time.
Huh?
Wait, what?
That was not in the movie.
Yeah, I guess in the book there's a part where her and Tate are inspired by a poet, and the poet's mentioned multiple times in the book. And at the end, after she dies and Tate's looking through her stuff, he finds her journal and finds out that she was a poet the whole time.
I do remember at the end of the movie he looks and he finds a poem.
Yeah.
In the movie, remember he does find a poem, and I was just kind of like, oh.
But they never really
elaborate on it.
I guess that you would only know what that meant if you read the book.
Yeah, and then he finds. So they say that one of the parts of the trial was that Chase was wearing this necklace that had a shell that he found with Kai while he was with her.
Yeah.
And he wore that necklace all the time, but when he died, it was missing. And nobody found out where it was until she died, when Tate found it in one of her books.
Well, I think we jumped a bit there.
Oh, sorry.
I'm thinking because at the end she's proven not guilty.
Yes, she's proven not guilty because she has a hell of a lawyer.
Most of the reasons being that she wasn't in the same city. She was several hours away. There were no witnesses seeing her come back to the city. Mm-hmm. She would have had to immediately got off the bus and killed the guy. None of it made sense. So that's why it happened.
Yeah. They basically said that, she left to a different city to meet with her publishers one day. She would have had to come back after dinner that night at, midnight or 1 in the morning.
In, some really short time span.
Then immediately go to the marsh, find him, and kill him.
But for her to get from that city back to hers, it was, longer than the time span that they were saying.
It was she would have had to lure him into the marsh, kill him, and then get back onto the bus, back to the city.
Without anyone seeing her.
With none of the bus drivers being able to identify her.
Yeah, within, an hour.
Yeah.
And
So
they said that's not possible.
but it was.
But it was.
And I don't get it.
Exactly.
That bothered me a lot.
So them finding the shell proves that she did kill him?
Yeah.
It's implied that she didn't kill him.
That's what I think. Okay.
But I don't get it.
Yeah, I would have liked for them to show me the scene where it actually happened. Because it could have been that she didn't actually kill him. Maybe she
She just took it back or something.
Yeah, or maybe they got into an argument, he lost his footing and fell off of those grates. Maybe, he was attacking her and she, self-defense pushed him.
And she still had time to, wipe down all of her footprints, because remember they said there were no footprints there.
Well, remember that there was a scene
she did everything they said that they couldn't, how?
Remember there was a scene of her walking, she was, covering her footprints up?
Well, yeah, but you can't do that on, that's sand? That's easy. You just wipe off the sand.
It was through the mud and the leaves.
But even then, her DNA on the railing and everything that.
Yeah, she has to get a napkin, wipe it off.
She also, I remember showing her pushing the grate back in so it was level.
They make sure that she doesn't have any fingerprints on the body when she takes the seashell.
Exactly. It's just a lot of
continuity. It's just loop continuity, yeah.
But it's the big twist in the movie, and it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of questions about what actually happened.
That kind of made the movie. I was liking the movie, and then that made me lose it.
Yeah, they could have showed us what happened, but they didn't. So
yeah, it doesn't
now we're all
make any.
questioning.
Yeah,
only she knows, and Chase who fucking died. So who knows? She did have a happily ever after though. After the trial, she wrote 4 more books, right? 4 or 5
and
books.
she ended up being with Tate. They got married.
Mm-hmm. They grew old together in the marsh.
She died in the boat.
Chris keeps coming up with this dying in the boat.
She died in the boat. Remember, the boat came back and she was dead.
That's the only thing that happened in the movie.
Oh, she saw her mom again. Well, she thought she saw her mom.
She saw her mom while she was dying in the boat.
Yeah, I know. She thought she saw her mom.
This is such a pessimist.
No. Well, it was still.
She married Tate. She had a bunch of other books. She's a successful author. No, she died in a boat. That's the only.
That's my whole takeaway from the movie.
Yeah. She was free. Then the next thing she's dead.
Yeah, she was free, and then she died.
There's still another 10-15 minutes in between.
Yeah.
But yes.
It's okay, Kevin. I fell asleep with her. I didn't fall asleep.
And that goes back to how bad the prosecution was, because she actually did it this time. The marsh girl actually did it.
Is it how bad the prosecution was, or how good her lawyer was? Because everybody else, even the jury,
everyone else just sucked.
Her. Even the jury was able to convict her. So all the prosecution had to do was be yeah, it was her, and her lawyer was really good.
Yeah, and everyone else was just awful and stuff.
Yeah. So I think it just proves how good he was, even if he was wrong. But it was a good movie overall, though. I thought. Besides that
was decent.
Weird twist ending. Because I still wanted them to just show me what the fuck happened that night.
I never even rated it on Letterboxd.
That's unfortunate.
Why didn't you, Chris?
I'd probably say a 3.
I'd probably give it a 3.5.
I give it a 3.
Yeah, I liked it. This is my introduction to what's her name?
Daisy Edgar-Jones.
Daisy Edgar-Jones, and I thought she did a hell of a job.
Normal People's were good. Fresh is a good movie. You would like Fresh.
I'd watch Fresh.
It's really
also,
good. Sebastian Stan. Her.
Yeah, there was only one person in this entire movie that I recognized. It was her dad. Who is he? I've seen him in other shit.
Have you seen Racing Hope, the show?
No.
Have you seen Looper?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So he was the hunter guy trying to find the kid, and the kid telekinetically lifts him up in the air, kills him.
Oh, that's where I know him from. I'm pretty sure I know him.
He's been in a couple other things too. He's in some other small roles.
He's usually small roles in sometimes in comedies.
But I like him. I think I like him.
Yeah, he's pretty good. But yeah, I would have liked to see that. I would have liked to see down the line, if she met up with any of her other siblings.
Yeah.
Because there was only that one sibling that found her, and it's you have other siblings. Where are they all going? Did you meet any of them? Or did you just stay in the marsh the entire time?
The only thing that she found out was that the mother died.
Yeah. But, you have all this money now. You're a successful author. Why don't you go, find them?
Well, I guess also the thing is that they didn't care enough to take her with them.
That's right.
So it's why should she go out and look for them if they didn't want to have her?
That's fair. And I guess when her brother came back, he was I wouldn't recognize them if I walked past them in the street. So, how are we going to find them, The only reason he found her is because she just so happens to still live. It's
not like modern day where it's so crazy to look up their name.
Exactly. He's the only reason I found you because I didn't really expect anybody to still be living here. So.
And he found the book, yeah.
Yeah, and her book, the name. So he's like, oh man, I saw your name there, but this girl has no no like sense of anything in the outer world. Like she doesn't know the date. She didn't remember she had a birthday. Like she's very secluded from everything out there. So I guess it makes sense that she wouldn't go look for them because they never took her with them. So makes sense.
Yeah.
She was closer to the African American couple from the store, so they were basically like her parents.
They probably would have taken her in if she was willing to do that.
Yeah, the lady was really sweet. Like she was so nice.
They were both. I like both characters.
Yeah, same.
I want like a movie just about them.
Yeah,
just like taking care of the shop.
Exactly. Oh, but overall, I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
3.5 and then 3 and 3.
That's an average of 3.16.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 3.2.
Yeah.
You want to round up, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I'd like to read the movie, or
you want to read the movie and see the book?
Yeah. I'd love to read the book to see like how close it was to the movie, or like what else there was that missed.
With the whole poet thing, it sounds like there's a lot of extra stuff. I've also heard the book's very detailed and like.
Your mom said that they like describe everything with more words than I need to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do in a book, right? That's what.
Well, she said they like described a rock with like 4 words.
I think she was.
I know she was being like make an exam or like being sarcastic, but that's what she said it's like basically.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do in a book, right?
I don't know. I've never written a book.
Supposed to be like as descriptive as possible. Have you ever read a book?
What's a book?
Well, I think it was. I've read other.
Read?
I've read other things about this too, about how like she spent pages like describing small things that don't need to be described that detail.
Oh, I see.
So like you spend 3 or 4 pages like describing the tree or something like that.
Oh, fuck that! I'm not gonna
read that's why I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard.
There's a book like that I read, and it's actually a movie, Annihilation.
Yeah,
I read the
Natalie
book for
Portman?
Annihilation. Yeah, I read the book, and it's so hard to read. It's difficult, and it's actually a trilogy. I started the second one, which is Authority.
So in the movie, is the movie all 3 of them, or is it just a...
The movie's just the first one. But there's also, I think it's Authority and then Acceptance or something like that. It's like a trilogy from the author. They're all about the same subject, but all different characters. So it's like years apart. But in the first one, it's the same characters from the movie, but it's also like they don't explain their names specifically. They just call them like the biologist or
whatever their position is.
Yeah, exactly. They just call them that. It's a lot more vague than the movie is. And a lot of the stuff from the movie doesn't happen in the book, but the book is so descriptive and so long. Like it's not even that big of a book. It's not that long of a book. There's just a lot of like weird way they word things. But I'm sure this book is the same way.
Yeah.
I'll probably let Anna read it and tell me about it. She didn't want to
instead of you doing the work yourself.
Yeah, I don't like to read. Not too many shit.
It's real lazy, Kevin.
Dude, I started it last year.
The book, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a long book.
It is a very long book. It's 1,100 pages. I got through 200 pages, and I just finished they just started heading back to the city, to Derry.
You started last year?
Yeah, I didn't. Well, I stopped after a while after 200 pages.
It's taken me a year to read it. I'm less than halfway through.
Yeah. Well, I got to the start of the summer of when they were kids.
I read 1 word a night.
Yeah. And I meant to continue because I was like, I'm not going to do this entire book in one sitting.
I mean,
so
you could, I guess.
You read 200 pages in one sitting? Or?
No. What I mean is I wasn't going to read the entire book at once. I was going to read it's broken into 5 or 6 parts. So I was going to read one part and then move to a different book. And then come back to this book. And then read another part and then move to a different book. And then come back to this book. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not all in one sitting or all at once, in one day, but finish reading however long it takes me to finish one part, and then move over to a new book, finish that book, come back, and I was going to do that, and then I got too caught up and I stopped reading, but I'm going to try to start reading again. I like reading, it's fun.
I'm reading a book that, Tom Segura, the comedian?
Yeah.
I'm reading his new book.
I didn't realize he had a book.
He just wrote a book. It's called I'd Like to Play Alone.
Nice.
And it's just a bunch of little stories.
Yeah.
Of true. Yeah, it's signed by him and everything.
Yeah. I have Tyson Fury's book Behind the Mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. And he's been through some crazy shit. But this movie, book adaptation. Yeah, I'd probably say it's like a 3.5. You guys say
Yeah,
3.
I'd say don't rush to see it in theaters. It's a perfect streaming movie, I think.
Yeah.
Like if it's on like Hulu, Netflix, or whatever, I think it's
Like
a
have
perfect
a movie night, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect
Yeah,
movie for
exactly.
that, but I don't think it's really a big theatrical movie.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a good movie for like if you have a book club. You guys read the book first and then watch the movie.
Yeah.
But
I know
wouldn't,
you've
like,
been
run to the theaters.
You've been talking about this movie for like months too. Just...
Yeah, because we were excited about it. Because then it was like, you know, she's like, the book is so good.
Did it get delayed? Because I remember it's like
so.
months and months ago.
It was supposed to come out in June.
Yeah.
And then like had like
Because I remember like in the winter we were going to see a movie and I remember you still talking about it. It was like they still had the posters up in the movie theaters for
Well,
it.
it always had the June release date, except up until a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out the same week that like 2 other movies came out, and I remember thinking like, oh,
I think like it was Lightyear and something else.
Yeah, and I think they moved.
I think it was Lightyear and Jurassic World.
Oh no, or was it the Black Phone?
It was the
Black
Black
Phone.
Because I remember you're going, oh, we should do like a triple feature this or whatever, and we're just like,
yeah.
Oh. And then we were looking at it, and I go, you know, it doesn't come out till July, and you're like, no, it comes out like.
Yeah, because when I did the original list like months ago, and at the beginning of the year, they told me, or when I looked it up, it said June. And it said those 3 came out on June 24th. And I was like, oh, sweet, we can do like a 3-movie, like...
That's too much movie in one
That's a lot of movie in one day. But then I was like, I can't spread it out through the week, because that's 3 times we have to go to the movies, and like... So I was like not excited about that week. I was like, maybe we'll save Crawdad for like the next week or something like that. But then I found out it didn't come out until like this month. And I was like, oh, sweet.
Okay.
But,
yeah.
Still, I mean, it was kind of worth the wait. It was alright.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go out my way to watch it again.
Yeah. And I thought it was like Oscar worthy, but I was like, I don't know if it's.
But she also like Midsummer, so.
I like Midsummer.
A lot
of
of
to say about Midsummer.
Chris, most people like Midsummer.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't like it. I didn't like it either, but I acknowledge that I'm in the minority.
Yeah.
I know I'm in the minority. I know someone who's like, it's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, and those people are scary.
They are scary.
I'm joking.
You and Anna are scary.
Yeah.
Is that one of your favorite movies? Ever?
Midsummer?
Yeah.
No.
Is it one of Anna's favorites?
I thought it was a unique movie. No, I don't think it's one of her favorites. I thought it was a unique movie because like most horror movies are done in dark settings at night, but this one's like broad daylight and still.
I did like that. Yeah.
Terrifying.
As much as I didn't like the movie, I thought it had the best cinematography that year, and didn't even get nominated. Like 2018.
2018, I think.
Was it really? Oh wow.
Because he did Hereditary before then.
I like Hereditary.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That was good.
I wonder if he's working on anything now.
Ari Aster?
But
no idea.
Oh yeah, he has a movie coming out like this year or next year.
Really?
Is it a horror movie?
I don't know. He said he was going to stop doing horror and do comedy, but because horror. I heard horror writing and comedy writing actually like go hand in hand.
Kind of, yeah.
He's got a movie coming out this year.
It's either this year or next year. I don't know what's called, but it looks like it's horror.
They are kind of hand in hand because you got to think like
the setup to a scare or the setup to a joke.
Exactly. It's like it's real people in real situations. And the situation is like, it just depends on the situation. It either makes you laugh or it makes you like piss your pants, like you're scared.
In real life, scary.
Yeah. So if he's that good at, like James Wan is really good at comedy and like horror.
What comedy do you do?
Daddy's Home. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I forget. I think he did Due Date. You guys ever seen Due Date with
Did he
Robert Downey Jr.?
Did he direct it?
Who directed it? I remember thinking the guy who did that did like, oh no. Todd Phillips is the guy who did
Todd Phillips.
Hangover.
Yeah, he did
Joker.
The Joker.
He did the Joker. That's
and
what
the Hangover.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Because his prior to the Joker, he really did like comedy. He did the Hangover, Due Date, stuff like that, and then he did the Joker.
And everyone was like,
Well,
everyone was like, okay, Todd.
People who went to college with Todd Phillips were like, yeah, he's always had like this directing style from the Joker. They were saying that they were surprised that he did Hangover.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, we're surprised he did Joker.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is weird. Like, there's people like that where you're like, oh man, it's crazy how they do. Like Jordan Peele, exactly.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele.
He's a perfect example.
Perfect example. He's great at comedy with Key and Peele, and then he just
out of nowhere
like that. Goes Get Out, Us, Candyman. Now he's doing this one. Nope. Like he just switched like that. Some people can do that, and it's amazing to see. Because like you see them, they do like crazy movies where they're funny or they're action, and then they switch like that to like horror or drama or something like that. James Wan, I was saying, is like that because he did a lot of horror movies. Like he did some of the best like Conjuring movies and Annabelle, but he also did like some of the Fast and Furious movies. And
You know,
some of
who
the
was
other,
like Robin Williams was like because he could do like really funny stuff, and then he could just do
Yeah.
really. Have you ever seen? Is it? I think it's 24-hour photo.
I've heard of that.
I've heard of it. But
That
I've never
is
seen
the
it.
most. It's a really good movie, but it's like makes you really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it's basically he works in this at a 24-hour photo place. He's the guy that develops the photos.
Yeah.
And there's a woman that comes in all the time, and he gets to know her and be very familiar with her. And she brings him photos one day, and the photos she brings in, he's developing them, and he's pretty sure he sees that the photos, in one of the photos, the husband's being like unfaithful.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically just he becomes super obsessed with his family and starts like basically stalking them. And it made me so uncomfortable. I was like,
Yeah, he's one of those really good actors. I actually prefer him in like dramatic roles.
Yeah,
he was trained in Juilliard, right?
Yeah,
he went to Juilliard.
He like Good Will Hunting.
Good,
is one
that's
of my
what it
favorite
is.
movies.
I love Good Will Hunting.
Dead Poet Society. He's amazing. The Birdcage. He's it's
Birdcage.
like part comedy, part drama, but he's great.
That's a really famous. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just a really good actor, no matter what he does.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah. That's a classic.
Exactly. He was just great in everything that he did. There's certain actors that could do that too, like him. What's that guy? John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly. Oh, Jeff Daniels.
I would say even Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
He started off doing like comedies.
With the suburbs or something.
Yeah, the Burbs. Big.
What was that one about the house?
Yeah,
Jackpot. I think.
I think so.
He bought like a house, and it seemed like to be a really good house, and
then Forrest Gump's like a mix of both, the comedy and drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But I think he was also in a show where like he played a cross-dresser because like
Bosom. No, that wasn't him.
Is Bosom something, right?
Bosom Buddies, was that him?
I thought so. Yeah, I thought because like they wanted to get into like an apartment complex because it was cheaper, but it was women's only, so they started dressing up.
Oh yeah, that was him. That was yeah.
Yeah. So like he started off doing
it's
like comedy,
really funny.
and now he's like a very well-renowned actor.
Yeah, and then like guys like I'd say even Leo DiCaprio's good and stuff like that, where he's great in drama. But he can be funny as hell. Like The Wolf of Wall Street, where he did like the lemons scene where he was on drugs and like crashes the Lamborghini. Or like there was somebody else I just had in mind who was great.
Jonah Hill. Peter Scolari's in Bosom Buddies too.
Yeah, Jonah Hill's. For Wolf of Wall Street, he was kind of a serious person in that one too.
Yeah. But like Moneyball.
Well, I was gonna say,
like one of his
for Wolf of Wall Street, he only got $60,000 for that movie.
Jesus, really?
Yeah, he wanted to put his name out there as to not just be that funny guy that everyone likes. So he went to Scorsese. He's like, I'll do this role for $60,000. So Leonardo DiCaprio got paid millions. He got paid $60,000.
Also, it was it Miles Teller in War Dogs? Is that who that? I think it was Miles.
Yeah,
who's that one?
Yeah, I love Miles Teller. Is so good. And in Whiplash too. But Whiplash. Oh, J.K. Simmons is another one. He's so good. Like, he can be, like, really serious and really, funny.
And then he just switches and becomes J. Jonah Jameson.
I love J.K. Simmons.
He's fantastic. Yeah, there's a lot of actors and directors like that who can just switch like that from genres to genres. And writers can do that, too. Like, different authors of different books can do that.
Cool.
I got selected to be able to buy tickets to a Bruce Springsteen concert from Ticketmaster.
Nice. He's alive?
Yeah.
What do you mean he's alive? Yeah.
Wasn't he big back in like the 70s?
80s?
I don't know.
The verified on sale for your show for Mohegan Sun.
Don't put your personal information out. We're still recording.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Crawdads, though.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. One thing I want to mention: there's a huge difference between critics and audience. I don't know if you noticed this.
Oh, on like Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's got 36 on Rotten Tomato for critics.
But like big one for
a 97 for audience.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like,
movies are doing that.
Like, what's the disconnect?
I think it's for movies that have like a set fan base already, like film adaptation, sequels, stuff like that. They all like their fans just rush to their aid when they're being trashed by critics. So I think that may be part of it. Like, there's just a bunch of like book fans who are all like, "Oh no, you're full of shit." Like, but it could also be like some critics just they pinpoint every little fucking thing, and like, audiences, they don't pinpoint stuff like that. They see the movie as a whole, they enjoyed it or they didn't. And the critics, they pinpoint every little thing. Like, it was a good movie, but this performance, this aspect, like, they didn't explain this enough, they didn't do this enough.
And I get that that's their job too.
Yeah.
But like,
But they do that for like a lot of different movies. Like there's plenty of movies where like the audiences loved it, but they trashed it.
that's why I love Rotten Tomatoes, because it's really interesting to see that like contrast between the
Yeah.
audience and the critics.
Exactly.
I think that's really cool, like a really cool idea.
Yeah, so it just depends on the movie and if they have like a fan base or if it's a like some movies get trashed by both and then they become a cult classic later. Like I'm pretty sure didn't that happen with like Back to the Future where it was like
It
trashed
wasn't
when it first came
received
out?
really well.
Yeah, and then it turned into like a
Well,
cult
same thing
classic later on.
with It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
That didn't do great at the theaters at all, and then now it's like everyone loves it.
Yeah, it's
like a movie.
Isn't that like the Christmas movie
Encanto.
everybody watches?
Yeah.
Encanto, exactly.
Really?
It did horrible in the box office.
Yeah, and now everybody loves it.
I wasn't like interested at first to see it, and then I saw it, I was like, that's pretty good.
I didn't even know what it was until I saw it on Disney Plus, and I saw that it was nominated for an Oscar, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch it. And then Tony watched it 2,000 times, and I was like, all right, well, I like this movie. But yeah,
Every time I go to your place, it's on the TV, and I'm just like,
yeah, that's the only thing that he likes. We tried Moana, we've tried
dude,
Frozen.
Minions.
He likes Minions.
So show him the other Minions movies.
Well, he likes Despicable Me. He didn't really care for Despicable Me 2, and I haven't shown him the Minions movie.
You should show, if you like the new ones, he probably will like
Yeah, he'll probably like it. I'll probably show it to him.
the Polar Express, dude.
Yeah,
No.
No,
You don't think so?
dude, that puppet. Oh, never mind. The puppets, the marionettes.
No,
I forgot about that.
No,
That-
just the way they look.
Oh, they tried to be like too
That-
lifelike.
That lifelike
Yeah.
CGI.
And Tom Hanks played like everyone.
Yeah, Tom Hanks was everyone.
A Christmas Carol, which was the same sort of animation.
Oh
Just
god,
made
that
with Jim
was
Carrey.
so creepy.
Mars Needs Moms.
Mars Needs Moms.
Marcy,
We saw
the
when
Yellow Submarine, the animate, the CG one they were trying to do.
That looked interesting.
It did, but it was also kind of off-putting.
yeah when A Christmas Carol first came out, me and my older sister wanted to go see it. We were like 13.
That's
I
the
think,
Jim Carrey
12,
one?
13.
Yeah.
And my mom was gonna send us with our little sister, who was like I think 4 at the time, maybe a little bit younger, a little bit older. And she was like, "Let me know how it is. If anything, I'll take her to it like another day." And we're like, "Okay." And then we watched that scene where the ghost of Christmas, I think it's Future, the one who's like a giant Santa Claus, he falls and turns into ash, and his skull like rolls out of the his skull like rolls out of the
Out of frame.
thing. Yeah, and I'm like, that's not kids friendly.
No, it's really it's
out.
so
I was like
freaked.
12 or 13.
it's really really
It's-
off-putting. It's
yeah.
it's not like terrible, but it's just off-putting.
It's a good movie. It's just freaky. Like, some of the
Because
shit that
the
happens.
technology they used for it was like early motion capture, but it was also like when they were experimenting with like making CG look real,
Yeah.
and it's just really off-putting.
Like one of the first shots of the movie, I think it even opens on this shot, is like the face of a dead man.
It's like really
And,
just like
backs up. It's like right
oh yeah,
here.
it's what's his name?
And he's
Dead
all
as- he
wrinkly
was
and
dead as a
freaking
doorknob. Oh, that's what they say. They go, this guy was dead as a doorknob.
He was
It was his old partner.
partner,
yeah,
yeah.
the old partner.
Yeah.
always forget his name.
Yeah.
It wasn't his friend. Nobody liked him.
yeah. Nobody liked him after that. After he died.
No one liked
He was a
Scrooge.
friend of
No one
his.
liked Scrooge until the end of the movie.
But it was just a freaky movie. Like it's on Disney Plus if you want to check it out.
Is
I
it
like
really?
it.
I should watch.
Yeah, it's there. It's there. They usually advertise it during like Christmas time. But it's one of my favorite like Christmas movies, and I do like the Polar Express.
You know what I tried rewatching the other day was the Percy Jackson. The first one's on Disney Plus.
I've never seen. Well, I've seen them. I just haven't seen them in a while.
The first one's on Disney. I tried rewatching and like a lot of the stuff I was like, oh, because it came out in 2010. I was like, ooh.
They should redo those.
They're making a show, I think, for Disney Plus, and like Rick Riordan, the author's like right behind it, like he's doing it with them.
Mm-hmm. You know what we should review with the Gray Man is Prey comes out I think this week.
Is that the
Or next
Predator
week.
It's
one?
come out already? Wow.
It comes out soon. Yeah, I saw. It may not be this week or next week. I think it said like August 5th.
I heard there's not a lot of dialogue in it.
Probably not because he's like back in the like.
Well, no, it's just
August
all about
5th.
hunters, so they're all quiet.
Yeah,
August
but
5th.
it's like back in time. It's not like any of the like new age.
What comes out in August?
August 5th.
like the beginning of August.
The same day, the same weekend as Bullet Train.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for Bullet Train because I still don't understand what it's about. Like the trailers don't make it clear. It just looks fun. I like Brad Pitt. All right, but that's. Do you guys have anything else to say?
No, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think I pretty much wrapped everything up.
All right.
But yeah, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Critical Eye. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment on this video. What do you think? What do you guys want us to review next?
Follow us on Letterboxd,
Follow us on Letterboxd,
Instagram, Twitter.
Instagram, Twitter. Anything else?
Oh, Facebook. We have a
Facebook.
Facebook page
You do
now.
have a Facebook page. All right, but yeah, thanks guys, and see ya.
See you later. Bye.